I love to cook. I'm from an Italian-American family. And so I liken the vocation story to kind of getting the Sunday sauce going. You start it early, and then you just let it simmer the rest of the day. Really, that's kind of, for me, what my vocation has been.
The faith journey starts pretty early, really. I didn't grow up Catholic. My family's not Catholic. We only went to church once a year. We would go to my grandma's congregational church every year on Christmas Eve. That was kind of our one church moment.
My novice director read us a quote from Father Arupe. Don't come to us if you think you're doing the Society of Jesus a favor. Come to us if serving the Lord is at the heart of who you are and who you want to be.
My senior year in high school at Xavier, I remember going on a retreat, and I remember one of the prayer periods having this sense, in sort of the vaguest way possible, becoming a Jesuit is something that people could do. I instantly ran away from that as fast as I could.
I knew I wanted to go to a Catholic college. I knew I didn't want to enter the seminary. But one day I remember talking to one of our religion teachers in the high school and asking him for some advice and kind of saying, you know, this priesthood thing is kind of on my mind, it's on my heart.
During that high school time, I do think I was nudged on by a few of the priests there. So I was an altar server at my local parish growing up, and I was an altar server there for our school masses. I was also nudged to be a retreat leader as well. So in those ways, I think sometimes other people saw a vocation in me that I didn't always see in myself.
The people of God will call forth your priesthood.
The teenage years, like for me, I think was kind of like a sense of, you know, what's life about? And isn't there kind of like this epic journey that is life, that we're kind of supposed to find our way and our meaning, and all those kind of stirrings as a teenager, and maybe just like watching too much Lord of the Rings, but I think that was kind of the vibe, you know?
During that last semester of school, just a lot of things collided at once. My grandmother suddenly became sick and she eventually died. A girl I was dating since freshman year of college, we broke up. I was just feeling very much homesick, feeling lonely.
At the end of junior year, as I was going into the summer, I had an internship lined up that would have set me up for a really lucrative career. But so I started the internship, kind of excited to see where this might lead, and it led nowhere. I was just completely bored every day, day in and day out. And so I found myself at this internship reading more and more about the Society of Jesus, about the life of Ignatius, about the writings of the then newly elected Pope Francis. And I found myself getting more and more excited.
And I called up the local Catholic priest in Williamstown, who happened to be a Jesuit. The first time that I met him, I remember he said, "My goal is to help you listen to the Spirit in your life." And so I was like, wow, I want to keep meeting with this guy.
To kind of help with that homesickness, I started going to church more often. I wanted to feel closer to home, and church is something that we did growing up. And so I started going to Stations of the Cross in particular on Fridays during Lent. And it was during that time where I was able to connect Jesus, our God who suffers, with my own suffering. And I really felt like, wow, God understands me. God knows what I'm going through. Not because my suffering is anywhere near Jesus' suffering, but because he was a human being and he knows what it's like to be homesick, to be hurt, to feel the distance from his friends and his family. And so that really reconnected me to my faith as an adult.
I remember reading Thomas Merton in the library one time, and it was so clear, like, stop dancing around this thing, come home. You know, like this is where I'm calling you to be. Like, stop dancing around this thing and come home.
When I was discerning with the society, I was driving up to Syracuse for a come and see weekend. And I kept praying the whole 5-hour drive from Baltimore to Syracuse. I kept saying, God, just give me a sign. Turn one of these road signs into lights that say, enter the novitiate. And as I've learned in these years as a Jesuit, as we grow in the art of discernment, that God doesn't always work that way.
I went to a novitiate come and see weekend. It's that first stage of formation. So I saw how the novices lived, how they prayed together, how they worked together, how they did chores together, how they played together, watched movies, watched sports. And being with those guys in the novitiate, in that same exact setting of that first stage of formation, I thought, you know, this is a really joyful, fulfilling life, and I think I could see myself here. And that's when I really decided to apply.
As I look back As I trace my vocation story backwards, I see all these friends and mentors who pointed it out. And then when I look back in prayer, it becomes so clear to me that God was very, very loudly telling me, this is the path. This is the certain path that I want you to walk. For me, it's this beautiful moment, this crescendo. The sauce is ready. Let's get to the table and eat.
I think this is the leap. Like, it felt like a leap. I remember in college going with a couple of friends to, I think it was Lake George or one of those like Canadian lakes, and they knew this spot where you could jump off like from 40 feet up, you know? I guess they knew that it was safe, so you just trust your friend, and we just like, boom, jump off this cliff into the water. And I think that's kind of what the Jesuits felt like. It was like, this feels a little crazy and scary, but I think this is the right move.
I've been thinking a lot about a Jesuit, Father Rudy Casals, who passed away a couple years ago. Before he was ordained, in his interview video, he said, I just want to be a joyful priest. Just want to be a joyful priest. And that really has been on my mind and in my prayer for so much of this last year. The desire to be a joyful priest. To be a priest that gives hope, that offers hope.